Hey folks, back with ancient cosmography. So in my last video I was showing this Celtic story, Gaelic story. Um, Not sure if this version of it is from Scotland or Ireland or both. But it talks about, it's talking about these giants who are related to geography and landmarks, like Fionn McCool and Deirdre Cora. So Deirdre Cora went into exile and dwelt in a wood and used to go about on shanks of deer for his lightness. So it says, one day as Fionn was in the woods seeking him, he saw a man in the top of a tree, a blackbird on his right shoulder, and in his left hand a white vessel of bronze, filled with water, in which was a jumping trout and a stag at the foot of the tree. So, as I said in the last video, and as it shows here, it seems that the stag, that this refers to Iceland, and the stag at the foot of the tree actually is the foot of the tree. His head and antlers are the trunk of the tree and maybe the roots. And then his body is part of the upper part of the tree somewhat. So, and then that it seems to be that the blackbird must be this peninsula, so Deirdre must be this peninsula, and then the bronze vessel filled with water must be these two peninsulas as the sides of it, and then it's filled with water, of course, and it's supposed to have an apple inside it. It's also supposed to have a jumping trout, so I'm not sure if that's represented. Some of the little islands here could be that. Hard to know exactly what that refers to. But it says, so that could be what it means when it says he dwelt in a wood, so he's on a tree, and used to go about on shanks of deer for his lightness. So if a stag is basically a deer, I guess, then he's on top of the deer for his lightness, I guess. That's how I would interpret that. It might be a mistranslation, hard to know. And this was the practice of the man, cracking nuts, and he would give half the kernel of a nut to the blackbird that was on his right shoulder, while he would himself eat the other half. So I'm not sure what that refers to. Yeah. I mean, if it refers to these like parts right off the coast of him and the bird that are all like weird, like a bunch of splintered nuts that are being cracked, that it's probably not. I mean, it's like, so that could relate to some of the small islands here, but I don't see one like right near the bird. But the other part here, and he would take an apple out of the bronze vessel that was in his left hand, divide it in two, throw one half to the stag that was at the foot of the tree, and then eat the other half himself. And on it he would drink a sip of the bronze vessel that was in his hand, so that he and the trout and the stag and the blackbird drank together. Then his followers asked of Fionn, yada yada. So it says Deirdre Cora is like concealed, has a cloak of concealment. So now I'm actually thinking that the apple part, I think that this represents the apple in the vessel, and it's shaped like an apple, but when it says that he eats half of it and then he gives half to the stag, I think that could refer to something near the stag, like him eating half of it. I think may relate to this, that if this peninsula is his head, this could be half an apple that's like in his mouth, basically, and maybe this is even the stem of it. I mean, you could even say it could be this or this, but I'm leaning towards this. And that the other half eaten by the stag. Here's a zoom in on the apple in the vessel, which shows, this is a zoom in on it right there, which shows that it actually does have kind of a stem right there, a little bit of a stem, nub of a stem on the apple. But yeah, so I think he's eating half the apple and then the stag is eating the other half, and that would explain how, this is basically the stag's face, but then it has this whole stuff coming right out the end of it. So my guess is that this represents the other half of the apple. And this is a zoom in on it. So yeah, just from here to there, or at least to there. But potentially all this would be, I mean, I don't know. Let's say it's just this, from this to there or something. Anyway, it fits. And so yeah, I'm just not sure yet about the nut it could be some of these islands around, little islands around there, but it's hard to exactly know which one or why, which ones. There's the apple in the vessel. So yeah. And then, let's see. So I think I was reading this yesterday that from Hamlet's Mill, which mostly just focuses on celestial cosmology and ignores and dismisses terrestrial mythology, but in this case it actually discusses both. So it's saying, near Olympia you can see Cronian Hill, which still bears the imprint of the celestial posterior. So this is when Kronos, Zeus throws Kronos down out of the royal chariot. So Jupiter throws Saturn down. Basically Thor throws Loki down. Seth throws I forget the Egyptian but anyway, so like it leaves the imprint of the celestial posterior, so it's apparently still bears the imprint of the celestial posterior. So that's saying like basically it's Kronos's butt left to mark on Cronian Hill. And so yeah, here's Mount Kronios, and it has like a little wedge kind of that goes down it. So I guess that around the wedge are the two butt cheeks of Saturn. That seems to be what that's about. So yeah, that this would be like between the legs, I'm guessing. I mean, who knows? It's a little bit, it's not super clear, but it just shows that the Greeks used the same system that the Egyptians and Australian Aborigines and everybody else used to map out the lands that they, and to probably, make a lot of the stories of the gods. A lot of it was based on the earth, not just on the sky. And see, this is a cave painting, I think from Lascaux, that I was thinking there's at least a possibility that it's this island here that's in like near Papua, I think. Or maybe this is in near Palawan in the Philippines towards Borneo. So, it's a chance that it kind of has this back foot and the front one sticking out, and maybe this is this one. Who knows? And if not, it's something similar probably. All right, so this is from Songlines by Bruce Chatwin. And so it's mostly about Australian Aboriginal anthropomorphic cosmography, but it also dabbles in some other cultures. So here it says, the story of Lycaon's transformation into a wolf took me back to a blustery spring day in Arcadia, and seeing in the limestone cap of Mount Lycaon itself an image of the crouching beast king. So Lycaon, the mountain is named for this god, and it's shaped like him. So I think that was the standard. That was what religion originally was, primarily this. And everybody in the modernized, industrialized world has been brainwashed to, has been basically, brainwashed to think that religion was something else than this. This heritage has been stolen from everybody. But anyway, so he's saying it's shaped like a wolf. So I went to find Mount Lycaon, mountain in Greece. It's shaped like a crouching wolf, or I think that's what he says, crouching beast king. So that's Mount Lycaon. So it seems to be that the wolf is this, that's the snout of the wolf, the nose of the wolf right here, and the head right here. And my guess is this is his body, and this might be his tail right here. There's kind of a little ridge, a long ridge that goes from there. So yeah, that's pretty much pretty straightforward. That's a crouching wolf. So this is just, this is no different from the Aboriginal, just as Chatwin observed, it's no different from the Aboriginal systems of geography. Yeah. Here it's like he's talking to the Aborigines. They call this stuff dreaming, which is a good word for it, because it's not quite reality, but it's also kind of real. It's metaphor. So dreaming is a good metaphor for metaphors. So they're passing all these mountains, and he's asking what's what. We sat down cross-legged in the sand. I asked him if he'd mind pointing out some local dreamings. So he's talking to an Aboriginal man. Ho ho, he broke into a wheezy cackle. Many dreamings, many. Well, who? I asked, waving towards Mount Liebler. Who is that?